back, everyone. Coach Mike here, and today again we've got my better half pay. Today's topic is investing with DIBS, right? Dynamic income stacking process, and really we're going to talk about how we actually use our IBC to invest with.
So yeah, thank you for having me back. And I feel that people in general, they understand IBC or income or infinite banking in theory, but when it comes to execution or the execution or applying it to real life, there's a little bit of a disconnect and challenge. They get the concept, but they don't really see how it shows up in daily life. So today, Mike, how do we actually use infinite banking to invest, and how does it connect to DIBS and income stacking?
Great, right? So just a reminder, right? DIBS is, dynamic income banking system. And so that's the key question, right? Because infinite banking concept, IBC, on its own, or, really the principle is about control of your money, your capital, your personal financial system. And DIBS is what happens when you apply that, system under your control to your entire financial life, which can include investing.
So let's just then set the expectation, right, for today's episode. So this isn't about chasing return or reacting to markets. It is about building wealth in a calm and predictive way.
Absolutely. Predictable, calm, right? So DIBS again, right, is your own way of doing this. And it's a combination of controlling the banking process and intentionally stacking passive income inside your personal economy under your control, all in a calm, steady manner.
So then let's start on the banking side, which I think is the key component, right? What does it mean to control the banking process in real life?
All right. Well, it means that, it's not too much to say that we run our lives and certainly our dollars and money through our system of policies. Think about it. Our income flows there or in there. Our expenses flow out or flow through it, and the dollars that we allocate, towards wealth building, it all flows in and through there too. So instead of money just coming in and immediately leaving our control, it actually gets to recirculate inside our own personal financial ecosystem or economy. And that's really the banking function.
So there's no separation of the two. And you use the phrase personal economy here. That may be a new term to people. So what does that mean for investors or even non-investors?
Yeah, Nelson mentioned it, in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, right? The flow of water, right, in the oceans and around the world as precipitation. Our money is the same way. And in a microscopic level, it just means that our dollars, don't disappear into the financial system, right? That big ocean. We have our little pool or puddle that we start with. In fact, they cycle. And so the same dollars that can pay an expense can also be recaptured and then redeployed again. And that's the key. It's this recirculation that most people are missing. They focus on growth all the time, but they fail to consider the leaks of their dollars that everywhere else, like that leaky bathtub. Hmm?
Yeah, I always reminded of that example in Nelson's book, where he talks about how the average American goes to the water cooler at their office and they're talking about how they're killing it in the market with 12, 13, 15% in the market. But what are they actually earning that percent on? They're earning it on a measly, maybe, $10,000 that they have saved, really, really worked really hard to save up to. So you're earning a high percent, they're chasing the return on a very small volume of money. So they're hoping to hit it big with that. So that's kind of that story that reminds me from the book. So where does income stacking then come into play?
Right. Well, so income stacking is how we build wealth within that controlled banking system. And instead of focusing and chasing and waiting for that big win, we instead stack predictable streams of income. And each stack, it may be small on its own, especially when you're starting out, but over time, right, they create momentum and they start to build. And the key is that it's a systematic process.
Yeah, especially if you follow the formula and follow the exact pattern that we're going to outline for our viewers, it's really kind of boring. That's what I want to say. So you often describe DIBS investing as calm. Why is that even important?
Okay, absolutely. Because to me, calm means sustainable, right? Sustainable is calm. We're not reacting or even obsessed over market swings, right? We're not experiencing emotional highs and lows. Each income stream comes back on schedule. Each stack has a 36-month schedule, whatever, and it's consistent. That predictability lets us plan, all right? And think about that. Over time, these stacked incomes begin to even outpace investors who ride those market cycles.
That's actually perfect. I really like that. Control, predictability, and forecastable, if that is even a word, where you could
Yeah.
forecast and foresee what's coming. If you have a potential, oh, you know what, in the next couple months we're going to experience some reduction in pay or something like that. You can actually prepare, plan and prepare, just like we actually prepare for the ice storm that just passed us. So while other investors experience ups and downs with the market, dips
Mhm.
or people who apply dips in their life tend not to do so. Would you say so?
Yeah, rather, I mean, we get to experience consistency, right? It might not be as exciting, but it's consistent. And traditional investors are often going to grow fast and then give it all back, with the downturn. But with stacking, through DIBS, especially growth, it may look slower at first, but it does absolutely compound steadily, predictably. So eventually, calm consistency will beat volatility all the time.
Yeah. Reminds me again of the penny doubled every day example that we have maybe mentioned either here or other channels where we do our interviews, where if you look at the penny double example on Google, just Google it, right? You
Or
can
the
see,
tortoise and the hare, right? Except this is
yeah,
kind of a
exactly.
turbo tortoise, to be honest.
That's right. Yeah. Like we're looking at compounding growth, and the compounding curve is never a linear growth. It's a curvilinear, right?
Yes,
So meaning in the beginning it maybe looks slow, but then later on it curves and it's exponential growth.
that's right.
So then that kind of leads to that next question I have, which is how does this change the way people show up as an investor?
Yeah, well, I mean, you get to stop chasing, right? You get to stop panicking. And you start, or stop comparing yourself to what others are doing or what the market specifically is doing this quarter, this month, even this week, if you're a day trader or something like that, right? Instead, you get to focus and really on building their next stack, right? In that predictable fashion. It's all on that spreadsheet. You just follow it and keep going. And that mindset shift is where long-term wealth is created. And I think, emotional, health as well.
Yeah, I like to be able to sleep at night and not
Yes,
have to worry about
exactly.
my next move and all that. So this is I want to shift focus a little bit and talk about the DIBS community, because we always like to do things backward. We build a community first, and then now we're sharing about it. So this is where that DIBS community that you and I help support really come into play, right? It's available to support all your clients and all those people who are trying to do DIBS, because stacking really isn't flashy, but it kind of needs a little bit of support, emotional support along the way, or just being able to see some proof of concept for people who have already been doing it. So do you want to touch on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I mean, community's big. I always joke that, IBC or income stacking, it's not a spectator sport. You got to take action, certainly, right? But these actions are predictable. It's planned out. You have your spreadsheet and, but you just start and as a sport, if you would, it's a full contact sport, right? You're gonna get jostled along the way, maybe, you see all this hype with FOMO and other people talking, down about whatever you're doing and not understanding it. You got to have that resolve and some support here. So I like to think that a hype-driven community, for example, right? If you're all about into, day trading in stocks or crypto, they celebrate big wins, right? And you just don't hear about, when it tanks and stuff. Whereas for us, we want to provide a coaching community, right? A supportive community that rather celebrates consistency. And inside, this DIBS system and community, we encourage each other to stay disciplined, stay the course. And that reinforcement, amongst others and other people that are doing it, some of them way ahead, some of them just starting out, is what keeps the system working. And we're all getting to learn from each other along the way, which is really exciting.
So DIBS is not about beating the market. I just wanted to clarify for people, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, it's really about outlasting it, right? I mean, I think it was Warren Buffett that said, the market, can stay illogical, longer than you can stay solvent, right? So again, if you had out, over time maybe, but it's about outlasting it is ultimately what it is. And that's by controlling the banking process, recirculating our dollars, and just stacking income intentionally. We build wealth in a calm and predictable way. And over time, that approach, it will outpace quietly maybe investors who live and die on these emotional highs and lows, right? So
Yeah. So if there's a way of building wealth, resonate if this way of building wealth that we're talking about resonates with you, start with education, right? Read a book that Mike we held up earlier, the Becoming Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash. And then, of course, I want to also plug this little book, this companion book that you wrote, Dibs on Your Money. And what else? What else should they do?
well, I mean, learn the framework, right? Get the jargon down if it needs to be. Understand the stacking process, and obviously IBC. But give it time to work, right? I mean, there's a lot to learn, but you're not alone. We're here with you, and we continue to put out this content for that purpose. So yeah.
Yeah, and we will continue to share more on this channel about how everything works within the DIPS framework and any resources that can be helpful. So stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, take your time. Again, a system like this, it's built deliberately and intentionally. There's no hype or there's no FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. This system just works. I mean, in the time that we've done it for years now, we've got proof in the pudding. And if you can just think long term, stick with that and stay consistent, you will win.
Yep. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time. And again, everyone out there, we're going to continue putting out the good stuff. So stay tuned for the next episode. Take care. Till then.